Good. Al, do you have anything you just want to start off by saying, or just right into the questions?
Yeah, I think the most important thing for me to say to start this off this morning is to thank Tanner Howe. And obviously, it's as I mentioned in the release, it's an important move for our franchise, but very difficult when you're dealing with a very good player, but a quality person in Tanner, our captain. My relationship with Tanner goes back to him playing under 18 Worlds as an underage, and I have tremendous respect for him. How he prepares, how he leads. I think the world of Tanner Howe as a young man, and I thank him for his time with our hockey club. Wish him the best in Calgary, wish him the best beyond with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I can't say enough about him.
What's that conversation like with a player to tell, like a guy like Tanner's been here, so active in the community, and telling him that he's been traded? What's that like as a GM?
It's difficult. I think it was even more difficult because of the deal coming together so close to game time, and having to pull him out of the lineup. I apologized to him. I would have liked the process to being a little smoother, but he handled it like a pro. I think Tanner is a smart kid. I think he saw the writing on the wall at some point. I'm not sure that he thought it would have been in the middle of November, but I think he knew that there was a good chance that he probably could have been moved. And like I said, he handled it like the person he is and the pro that he is, and the great pro that he will be.
That leads to my next question. Just how quickly did this come together? Has this kind of been on bubbling for a little bit here, trading Tanner?
It came together fairly quickly. I think we started talking about Reese Hamilton late last week with Calgary. It culminated in some different discussions. We had conversations with Calgary yesterday that indicated that Hamilton was going to be moved yesterday. They had a priority on the deal we were talking about, but had made it clear to us that if we decided to pass or move on, that he was going to be moved in another deal. We collectively as a group, talked, evaluated the trade, continued to do our homework and research, and we had a deadline with Calgary at about 6:15, 6:30 last night, or they were going to move on, and we decided to move forward. We just felt that, I'll start with the draft capital, continue to add valuable draft capital to what we're trying to build here. I think Dante states it in the release. We now have 15 picks in the first 3 rounds of the next 3 drafts. That includes 5 first-round picks, 6 second-round picks, and 5 third-round picks. That's going to give us, great flexibility and great options. When we got to a point where a player like Keets Fawcett was in the deal as an 18-year-old, had a great rookie season, set 19 goals last year, plays the game hard, skates well, softens the blow on taking Tanner Howe out of our lineup, and keeps us somewhat competitive this year. And then, when it came to Hamilton, 4th overall pick in the Bantam draft, played, was with the under 18 team in April at World Championships to get that experience, won gold on the Hlinka team, highly rated for the NHL draft, playing in next week's CHL USA Top Prospects game. Players like that don't usually come on the market at 17 years of age, and we just felt with what we're doing here and the fit in terms of our blue line moving forward, that we had to move forward and capitalize on the offer that was made, and the situation with Hamilton being part of it.
Did Hamilton need a change of scenery, or what was the sort of decision to move on? I know you can't speak for them, but why was he made available?
I can't speak on that, Taylor. I think if you look at what Calgary's done here of late, since the start of the season, adding Hvidston, recently adding Kalen Parker, now being aggressive in adding Tanner Howe, I think that you can see that they're being aggressive in terms of trying to contend this year. My focus on Reese Hamilton and Keets Fawcett, regardless of the start of their seasons, is what they do starting tomorrow night in Swift Current.
Can you speak to the status of Corbin Vaughn?
Ongoing.
When you mentioned the timing, and some would say, oh, you could have waited until closer to the trade deadline in January. What does that speak to the players that you're getting back and maybe advancing that timeline?
It really boiled down exactly to what you said, is that we collectively made a decision to entertain moving Tanner Howe before the World Junior Selection Camp. I feel comfortable in saying that I believe Tanner will be invited to that camp, and I think he has a real good chance to play on that team. So in essence, for our hockey club, if Tanner played on the World Junior team and we were going to move him, he wouldn't play another game for us after he left for World Juniors. So we talked about the strategy around adding the assets that potentially could come from a Howe trade, get them in our lineup earlier, and having those assets to help us prepare for our deadline without concentrating on Howe and the fact that he wasn't going to play another game for us could be valuable. So a little bit of a long-winded, but in terms of coming around to that, but it really boiled down to the fact that yesterday we had a deal on the table that we really liked collectively with the draft and the players, and essentially we had to make a decision if we wanted to move forward. If we didn't move forward yesterday, then Reese Hamilton wouldn't have been part of a future deal.
The players that are coming back, it's a bit of a homecoming for one. What's their response been to the move being made? I'm sure there's probably some shock and absorption of the news.
Their response has been great. They're very excited. Reese has a history with a lot of people in our organization. Tristan Fry through spring hockey, Dale Durkach, playing with Dale's son Dace. We know Reese and his family very, very well. Obviously he's been around the Hockey Canada people for a while. Got great information from them. Lots of good things there and a homecoming for him. He's really excited. And I think Keets Fawcett, similar. He's an Alberta kid. Obviously had a great 17-year-old year. Not got off to the start maybe as expected based on what he accomplished a year ago. But seems like a guy that's really excited, and talking to him and his agent last night, really excited for a fresh start and getting to Regina and being around our group.